Arpana Janaga was 24 years old when she died. She worked at EMC Corporation in Redmond. Software engineer, one of those tech jobs that everyone's parents hope their kids will land. She'd come from India, lived in the Valley View apartments, and apparently knew more of her neighbors than most people do in those kinds of places. You know the type of apartment complex I'm talking about. 3 stories, exterior hallways, parking lot always half full. October 31st, 2008 was a Friday. Halloween, she threw a party. By Saturday morning she was dead in her bedroom, and whoever killed her probably walked out the front door with everyone else, hungover, makeup smudged, no one looking twice. So the party. Multiple apartments were hosting that night. I think 3 or 4 units total, but I've seen different numbers reported. Doors were open, people were going between floors. Someone brought friends, those friends brought other friends, and pretty soon you've got this situation where half the people there don't even know whose apartment they're in. Someone showed up as a scarecrow, which I only know because it's mentioned in one of the police reports. Someone else did the sexy nurse costume that was unavoidable in 2008. Probably somebody in a horse mask. The usual. Arpana was hosting, so people saw her all night. Someone remembers talking to her around midnight. Another person says 1 a.m., but they also said they were pretty drunk by that point, so. When you're 4 beers deep and Thriller is playing for the 3rd time, you're not really tracking the clock. Sometime after people started leaving, someone either came back or never left at all. That part we don't know. Her friend found her the next day. The apartment door wasn't latched all the way, not wide open but not closed either. Just sort of ajar, which is one of those details that apparently still bugs the investigators who worked the case. She'd been strangled, duct tape over her mouth, sexual assault. And then someone poured motor oil on her, regular motor oil, the kind you can pick up at any gas station. The reports don't specify which brand, but it wasn't some fancy synthetic blend. Just Pennzoil or Quick Lube or whatever was on sale. They dumped it on her body to destroy DNA evidence. The comforter from her bed was gone, never found it, probably in a dumpster somewhere, or maybe the killer burned it. That comforter almost definitely had the kind of evidence that would have solved this whole thing. Blood spatter patterns, DNA that hadn't been contaminated by 30 drunk people in costumes. No forced entry, which meant she either let someone in after the party, or they'd been there earlier when the door was open to everyone. The Redmond police collected DNA samples from everywhere. Her body, the duct tape, doorknobs, light switches, the kitchen counter. They found genetic material from multiple people. The problem, and this is where the whole thing falls apart, is that every single person whose DNA they found had a completely normal reason to be there. They'd been at the party. At a party, you lean against walls. You open the bathroom door. You grab something from the kitchen, brush against the fridge trying to get past someone. You shake hands, hug people goodbye, catch yourself on a doorframe when you trip a little. All of that leaves traces, skin cells, saliva if you're talking close to someone's face, hair. In a home invasion, DNA is huge. It puts someone in a location where they absolutely shouldn't be. But at a party where dozens of people have been moving through rooms for hours, it just means you were there, which isn't illegal. The killer got lucky, or maybe they planned it that way. Either way, the party contaminated the crime scene before there even was a crime scene. There's security camera footage from the hallways. Hours of it. People in costumes walking in and out. Someone dressed as a zombie carrying a 12-pack of Bud Light. Groups of 3 or 4 heading toward the elevator, laughing about something. How are you supposed to identify one suspicious person in all that? You can't. Guilty leaving looks exactly like drunk leaving when everyone's wearing fake blood and masks. The motor oil destroyed some of the DNA samples. Not all of them. There was still plenty to analyze, but enough to create gaps. And the missing comforter took the rest of the answers with it. Police spent months tracking down everyone who'd been at the party. They needed what they call elimination samples, DNA from people they could rule out. But some of those people had moved out of state by then. Some of them barely remembered being there. It was Halloween 2008, If you went to 5 parties that weekend, they all kind of blur together, especially years later when detectives are calling you asking which apartment you were in at what time. One guy told police he thought he'd been at Arpana's place around 11 p.m., but that he might have been thinking of the party happening downstairs. That's not him being evasive. That's just what happens to memory when you're drunk and wearing a costume and nobody's keeping track of anything because nobody's been murdered yet. The investigation needed precise timelines. Who touched what? When? None of that existed. Emmanuel Fair had been at the party. His DNA showed up on the duct tape. He also had a criminal record, some prior convictions. I don't remember exactly what for, but it was enough to make him an obvious suspect. There was another guy, though. Also at the party, also lived in the complex. His DNA was at the scene too. After Arpana's murder, he allegedly made some strange comments to people, though what he actually said seems to vary depending on who's telling the story. Police investigated him pretty thoroughly, never charged him. There might have been other people they looked at. The police haven't released every name, probably for legal reasons. Or maybe they just don't want to publicly name people they couldn't build a case against. Emmanuel Fair sat in jail for 9 years waiting for trial. 9 years. When prosecutors finally charged him in 2017, their case basically came down to this. Fair's DNA means he's guilty, but everyone else's DNA just means they were at a party. Same evidence, 2 interpretations. The defense argued contamination and pointed at the other guy whose DNA was also there. The jury hung. Couldn't decide. The state tried him again in 2019. Same evidence. Same fundamental problem. The jury acquitted him that June. Fair got out after 9 years and sued for wrongful imprisonment. I think that lawsuit is still ongoing, but I'm not completely sure. 9 years of your life for something you were found not guilty of. I don't even know what you'd do with that. The other guy whose DNA was at the scene, never charged. Same forensic mess that freed Fair protected him. Whoever did this planned some of it. The motor oil proves that. They knew about DNA and tried to eliminate it. But the cleanup was sloppy and incomplete, which makes you think they either panicked or ran out of time or just didn't really know what they were doing past dump oil on everything and hope. We don't know when exactly Arpana died. We don't know what happened after the last guest left. We don't know if this was someone she invited or someone who showed up with a friend of a friend. Motive? No idea. The missing comforter probably had those answers. Her family is still in India. They've done interviews over the years. They're frustrated. With the investigation, the courts, how long it took, the acquittal, all of it. Their daughter was 24. She'd moved halfway around the world to build a career. She threw a Halloween party because she was friendly and wanted people to have fun. The case file is still open at Redmond PD. They still have DNA samples somewhere in storage. Maybe in 10 or 15 years there'll be some new technology that can do something with degraded samples. Maybe not. The Valley View apartments are still there. You could drive by right now. Apartment W8010C still exists. Someone probably lives there. They probably have no idea what happened in their bedroom in 2008. Dozens of people walked through Arpana's apartment on Halloween night. Costumes, red Solo cups, bad jokes, taking photos on phones that are probably in a drawer somewhere with dead batteries and cracked screens. They touched things without thinking about it. Why would they? It was a party. By morning she was dead, strangled, assaulted, motor oil poured over her body, comforter missing. The person who killed her walked out, maybe with the crowd when things were winding down, maybe hours later when the hallways were empty. They left behind DNA and fingerprints just like everyone else. Proof they'd been there, but not proof of why. They became one of many. Maybe they think about it sometimes. Maybe they saw the news about Emmanuel Fair's arrest and trials. Maybe it's just something that happened a long time ago that they don't think about anymore. Last confirmed location, October 31st, 2008, Valley View Apartments, Redmond. After that, just another person who'd been at a Halloween party. The case is still open because the investigators did their jobs. They collected evidence, mountains of it. It just wasn't enough. Too many people in too small a space for too many hours. The party contaminated everything before the murder even happened. Arpana left her doors open because she was throwing a party. Someone made sure she wouldn't throw another one.